He was a composer, a musician, and a genius who lived more than 300 years ago. Yet his music still resonates in concert halls, churches, and even in modern playlists today. This is the story of Johann Sebastian Bach, an artist whose work defined the Baroque era and whose influence shaped the course of music history forever. Welcome to our journey into the life of Bach, the Baroque composer who inspired the world. Our story begins in Eisenach, Germany, in 1685. Picture a quaint town surrounded by lush green hills. It was here that Johann Sebastian Bach was born into a family of musicians, of a lineage so rich in talent that the name Bach was practically synonymous with music in the region. Bach's father, Johann Ambrosius, was a court trumpeter and director of town musicians. Music wasn't just a profession for the Bach family, it was their way of life. But tragedy struck early. By the age of 10, Johann lost both his parents. He moved in with his older brother, Johann Christoph, who was an organist. It was in his brother's home that young Bach's love for the keyboard flourished. Imagine being a child, grappling with loss but finding solace in music. For Bach, the organ and harpsichord became his sanctuary. As Johann grew, so did his reputation as a gifted musician. By the age of 18, he secured his first major position as a court musician in Weimar. But Bach was not content with mediocrity. He was driven by a relentless pursuit of excellence. There's a story that captures this spirit perfectly. As a young man, Bach walked over 250 miles from Arnstadt to Lübeck just to hear the great organist Dieterich Buxtehude perform. That's the equivalent of walking from New York City to Boston. Why would someone undertake such a grueling trek? Because Bach knew that greatness required sacrifice. He absorbed everything he could from Buxtehude's performances, which profoundly influenced his compositional style. Bach's time in Arnstadt and later in Mühlhausen was marked by innovation and, occasionally, rebellion. He often clashed with church authorities who found his compositions too elaborate. But Bach refused to compromise his artistic vision. Bach's career took a monumental turn in 1717, when he became the Kapellmeister at the court of Prince Leopold in Cöthen. Unlike his previous positions, this role gave him freedom to compose secular music. During this period, Bach created some of his most enduring works, including the Brandenburg Concertos, a dazzling collection of 6 orchestral masterpieces that redefined what instrumental music could achieve. Think of the Brandenburg Concertos as the greatest hits album of the Baroque era, each concerto showcasing a unique blend of instruments and textures, much like an artist experimenting with different genres. But life wasn't without challenges. Personal tragedies struck again when Bach's first wife, Maria Barbara, passed away suddenly. Yet, even amidst grief, Bach continued to compose, channeling his emotions into his music. In 1723, Bach accepted the prestigious position of Thomas Cantor in Leipzig, where he would oversee music for the city's 4 main churches. This marked the beginning of his most prolific period. Imagine composing a new cantata every week for church services while managing a choir, training students, and raising a large family. Bach did it all with remarkable discipline. During his time in Leipzig, Bach wrote over 300 cantatas, though only about 200 survive today. Each one is a miniature masterpiece blending theological depth with musical brilliance. It wasn't just sacred music. Bach also composed the well-tempered Clavier, a groundbreaking collection of keyboard pieces. These works are still considered essential learning for pianists worldwide. Despite his incredible output, Bach's music fell out of favor after his death in 1750. For nearly 80 years, his genius was largely forgotten, overshadowed by composers like Haydn and Mozart. But in 1829, something extraordinary happened. The young composer Felix Mendelssohn conducted a revival of Bach's St. Matthew Passion. Matthew Passion. This performance reignited global interest in Bach's music, securing his place as one of the greatest composers of all time. Today, Bach's influence can be heard everywhere, from classical symphonies to jazz improvisations, and even in popular music. He's been sampled by the Beatles, referenced by modern composers, and studied by virtually every serious musician. What makes Bach's music timeless? Perhaps it's his ability to balance complexity with beauty, intellect with emotion. His compositions speak to something universal, something eternal. Johann Sebastian Bach once said, "The aim and final end of all music should be none other than the glory of God and the refreshment of the soul." 3 centuries later, his music continues to refresh and inspire the souls of millions. That's the power of a true genius. Thank you for joining us on this journey through Bach's life and legacy. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more deep dives into the lives of history's greatest minds. Until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and keep listening.